Hi, I'm Madison Mary and welcome back to my channel. Today I have my sports romance recommendation video for you. So I'm super excited to do this video. I absolutely adore sport romances, and a couple weeks ago I read a bunch of them and I was like, hey, let's do a recommendation video. I read some really great ones then. I read some really great ones like a couple of years ago. Sport romance is how I got into the new adult genre, is how I kind of got into like the more spicy, steamier, sexier books in the genre. So I'm really excited to do this video. I have a bunch of recs for you guys, so let's just dive right on in. We're gonna start with one of my brand new favorites, and that is The Bombshell Effect by Karla Sorensen. This is book one in the Washington Wolves series, and we follow ɪḻsᴛᴏᴜ and Luke Pearson. ɪḻsᴛᴏ has just inherited the Washington Wolves football team from her dad. He has just passed away and he left the team to her in his will. Now, Elle and her father were estranged, they hadn't spoken for years, and she'd actually been living in Milan, so she comes all the way back to the United States. She ends up staying in one of his like many residences and is just like, what am I doing here? I don't know how to run a football team. I don't know how to own one. Then we have Luke Pearson, and he is one of the captains on the Washington Wolves football team. He has a single dad. He is kind of getting to the older side of football. He's not, he has to work a lot harder nowadays. And what is happening is one day Luke gets a new neighbor. He sees this neighbor, sees this blonde bombshell. His daughter is like enamored with this pretty lady next door. And he is like, oh no. Is this some crazy ass fan who was like somehow found where I lived? And so he completely like snubs her off. He's so rude to her and they do not get along. And then a week later, they end up seeing each other at the Washington Wolves conference, and he ends up learning that she is the new owner. And so they then have to put aside their differences to work together for the team. And it is a very slow burn, like enemies to friends to lovers romance, which is what I really loved about this, is like, they did not get along at first, then they actually became like genuine friends with like this like crazy sexual tension. Like there's like a photo shoot scene in this, and the sexual tension between the two of them during that scene was palpable. You could feel it. Oh my god, I loved it. And like his daughter at the same time, I loved so much about this book. And honestly, Elle, she reminds me a lot of Elle Woods from Legally Blonde. She's beautiful, she's rich, she's powerful, but everyone looks at her and thinks, well, you can't do anything, you're not really smart. And so her entire life, she's never really thought, oh, I could do this. And now she finally has this opportunity to take charge, and she ends up being this like boss, beautiful bitch. And it is awesome. Loved it so much. Cannot wait to continue on. Then the next book is the only book on this list that I didn't give a 5 stars. I gave this one a 4.5, and I'll explain why. But that is Hard to Handle by Bromberg. This is a romance between an NHL hockey player and a sports agent. So Decca Kincaid, her and her 4 sisters are all sport agents at her father's agency. And recently their athletes have been poached by a rival company. So her dad, in retaliation, is asking each of the 4 daughters to poach back a different client. And so book 1 follows Decca as she is poaching the bad boy, the top player of the NHL. And this man is Hunter Maddox. Now, he has so much potential, but over the last 6 months, he's kind of been effing up. He's acting up on the ice, acting up off the ice. He's just a total mess. He's just become a complete and utter dick, and no one really understands what's going on, and it's really about to jeopardize his career. And him and Decca actually had a bit of a friends with benefits relationship a year ago. And now she's stuck coming back into his life to kind of see what's going on with him and to try and convince him to leave his agency and come to hers. And so it's like a second chance romance, kind of enemies to lovers, because they ended on such a sour note that they don't get along anymore, but their sexual chemistry is still right there. And what I really love is like how throughout this entire book, Decca was just so adamant about being by Hunter's side, about making him comfortable, by like figuring out what is going on in your life. And throughout this entire book what's going on with Hunter, what messed up things are going on in his life and all the issues. The problem is that no one else knows, and he is such a dick because of that. So I took off half a star because he does act quite rude to everyone, and it's not really excusable because of everything he's going through, but you still kind of understand it. So really enjoyed this as a hockey romance. I especially cannot wait to see all the other ones in this series, because I believe that like all the different athletes that they try and poach are from different sports as well. And I just love Decca and her sisters. They are a ride and a half. They're all such different personalities, and it was just a really fun read. Speaking of fun reads, we then have Jock Blocked by Pippa. Now this is a hoot and a half. This one is hilarious. This is a rom calm. It's spicy, it's steamy, it's sexy, but it is hilarious as all hell. If you want a book just to read, just to like not take too seriously, just to kind of have fun with it, you need to pick this one up, because I was laughing my ass off throughout this entire time. It is so cheesy and hilarious. It is priceless. So in this one, we're following Brooks and McKenna. McKenna is a super fan for the Copper Valley Fireballs. They are a baseball team, a Major League Baseball team, and they are the worst in the league. She has custom sneakers for the Fireballs. Her car is decked out in Fireball decals. Anything that can be fireballed, like she did that. She's like a fan and a half. And what's happening is one of the players who has just been traded to the Fireballs is Brooks Elliott. Now, Brooks is one of the most up-and-coming baseball players, but he's just been traded and he now thinks that his entire career is over. Now, Brooks has a superstition. His superstition is that if he tries to have sex with anyone, he then loses his ability to bat for like a couple weeks. It's his superstition. And so for years now, he's never tried to do anything with the ladies. He's never lost his virginity, but now that he's been traded, he's like, well, what's the point anymore? What does it matter if I lose my ability to bat if I'm on a shitty team anyway? So he goes on his quest to lose his virginity. But Mackenzie knows this. Mackenzie knows his superstition, and she's like, oh, no, sir. You are supposed to be the person we brought onto this team to fix it. I'm not letting you screw this up for me. So she proceeds to cock block him every single time, and it is priceless, and it's them actually falling in love in the process of her preventing him from falling in love, and it is awesome. I loved it so much. It was just hilarious. They had such great banter. She's such a cute and quirky person as well. What I really loved about this is that Mackenzie actually has two dads, and they're both drag queens as well, which is like such a unique thing. Never seen that in a book before, and I adore drag queens, so that was a really fun thing, and it was just a really enjoyable book. Next we have Taking a Shot by Taryn Lee Taylor. This is book 1 in the Montana Wolfpack. However, this author has not written anything since this book, so I don't think we'll ever get any more in this series, which is really depressing. So this one we're following Brett Sillinger and Chelsea London. Now, Chelsea London, her dad owns the Montana Wolfpack. She works basically as like a PR person for them, an event planner, and she really prides herself on being super organized, on like, compromising her entire social life to give everything to the Wolfpack and to her job. And so when a new promotion comes up, she thinks her dad's gonna pick her, but her dad ends up passing her over and giving the job to her much lazier, much more social butterfly older brother, and she is heartbroken. Pair that with the fact that she's just been dumped by her boyfriend and her life is not going great. So what does she do? She goes, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna let loose for a night, I'm gonna let go of all my anxieties and everything, and I'm just gonna go have a one-night stand. So she goes to the hotel bar, finds a man there, and has crazy ass hot one-night stand sex. Until the following week, she's at an event and she meets the newest person that they've traded to bring to the hockey team, and that is Brett Sillinger. And Brett Sillinger is none other than the man she had the one-night stand with. Now, this is a problem because Brett Sillinger has a bit of a reputation. He has kind of been messing things up in the press and the media, which is why his old team didn't want him, and being at the Wolfpack is his last chance to still have an NHL career. So he can't afford to mess up. So screwing his owner's daughter is a bit of a no-no. So it's a bit of a forbidden romance in the two of them, but they have this crazy chemistry. It was so much fun. It's a really short book as well, and I just loved it. It's one of my favorite hockey romances out there, and I will forever be depressed that we'll never get any more because it doesn't seem like this author's doing anything. But trust me, this book is worth it regardless. Now I want to go back to an oldie but a goodie, and that is all lined up by Cora Carmack. This is book 1 in her new adult football romance college series. You get what I'm saying. I read this book. This is one of the first ones that kind of got me into the new adult genre, the new adult sport romance genre as well, so I needed to put onto this list. This is a romance between a college football player and the coach's daughter. So Dallas Cole is the football coach's daughter. Her entire life has been ruled by football. Her ex-boyfriend is a football player, and she's just, she's like, I want nothing to do with football anymore. I'm so over this. This is not happening. And then you have Carson. He's determined to become the starting quarterback this season. He really wants a chance to show himself. He wants to be the player that he can be, so he can't afford to mess up. And then at a party, the two of them meet and they don't know who the other person is, and they really hit it off. And then once they realize, they're like, I don't think we can be together because it jeopardizes both of what we want in life. But obviously they can't avoid the attraction that they have to each other, and it's their romance, and I really, really loved it. Speaking of one of the originals, I cannot make this list without talking about my bae, the queen, the new adult queen, the queen of new adult. Elle Kennedy. Now, as you can see behind me, I literally have all my Elle Kennedy books, all the different editions, the abs editions, the regular editions, the Briar off camp, I got it all, okay? But I can't be bothered grabbing them all off that shelf. So this is Elle Kennedy's off-campus series. It is 4 books that have to do with 4 different hockey players at Briar University and the 4 women who kind of turn their lives upside down and that they fall in love with. Book 1 is a fake dating romance, but my favorite book is book 3, which is both of their best friends getting together. I so love this series so much. It's just such a staple when it comes to the genre. So like, you can't not read it. Book 1 is $0. Like, it's free on Kindle. So do go pick it up because you have no excuse. It's $0. What's preventing you from just downloading it and see if you like it? It's a staple out there. And then the last one I want to mention, I'm actually going to mention a different book from this author, but Scoring Wilder by Iris Gray is one that I've mentioned multiple times. This is a new adult soccer college romance between a soccer player who is trying to get into the Olympics, like the soccer team at this university is trying to get into the Olympics. And then you have the bad boy of the soccer world who comes in to be one of their like co-coaches for the season to help them get to the Olympics. And so it's a forbidden coach romance, but they are similar in age. It's not like a massive age gap between them that makes it creepy or anything. But I love this one as well. But I do want to highlight Iris Gray's Summer Games series, which no one ever talks about. One of my favorites as well. And these ones take place at the Summer Olympics. And the first book is about Andy Kent, and she is a soccer player at the Olympics. And then also this guy who is a Olympian British swimmer. And they have this like crazy chemistry, but they're not like, they don't want to be together, but obviously they're in like Olympic Village together and they can't escape. And it's like, oh my God, you got like forced proximity with them being there and like all these other athletes. It's so much fun. Such a fun book. No one ever talks about it. It's an Olympian romance. Bruh. And then I do have one more. I didn't rate this one that high. I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars, but I do want to mention it, and it is Secret Puck by Rebecca Jenshak, because I do plan on reading more from this author. This book was just a bit more of a miss for me. This is also a new adult college hockey romance. It is forbidden. It is a brother's teammate. Not brother's best friend, because they're not best friends, but they do live together. Her brother lives with this guy, which makes it a whole problem. Ginny is a freshman. She's just come out of a long-term relationship. Her boyfriend broke up with her out of nowhere, and she's just devastated coming into college. And so her older brother, who is the captain of the hockey team at this college, is like, hey, I'm gonna take you under my wing. I'm gonna bring you out. Like, I don't want you to be stuck in your dorm moping and sobbing all the time, so come to parties with me. And that's where she meets Heath. Now, Heath isn't like the playboy necessarily of all of them, but he is kind of the one who's known for, you know, going through girls pretty quickly, doesn't really stick with the same one. And so Ginny and him really hit it off with this instant chemistry, and it's a forbidden romance with the two of them because, you know, her brother is like, none of you guys can date her. And he's like, I can't really date my captain's little sister. That's a bit, you know, he's gonna be mad at me. But Heath falls for Ginny so quickly. He is so enamored with her, and I loved how much he loved her. And I'm just excited to continue with this series. So did want to mention it. It's not like one of my favorites, but still a good one to mention. So yeah, let me know what some of your favorite sport romances are. I'm always down to try new ones, especially if you recommend them to me. If you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button down below. If you want to see more of me, please go to my channel. And until next time, thanks a bunch, everyone. Bye-bye.